they had our itinerary worked out before we ever got there. Who was going to make dinner for them and whose house we were going to visit, when and where.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about this first trip to Italy that you took. Was that your first trip out of the country?
Yeah.
Can you tell the story about it? Like, how did you get there? By ship or by plane or?
We flew by Pan Am to Rome and then took a flight down to Reggio.
And what year was this?
Roy was 8 years old, so it must have been 58, because he was starting kindergarten, 7 years old.
So did you guys fly in a jet or a propeller plane?
Propeller. There was no jets yet. I think Trudy and Joe flew also when they went, but I'm still thinking they went after. I know they did. They went after us, because when we were there was the time to buy the jewelry. Everybody had to go. The aunts, the uncles, the brothers, and go to Messina to buy Anna her jewelry from her to-be husband. And it had to be, except Grandpa, Mom didn't go. I don't think Grandma went. But we all had to go to supervise if he was giving her enough
of a dowry.
So tell me the story about the trip. You guys flew out of New York, out of JFK? And that wouldn't have been JFK at that time. It was another airport.
Well, it wasn't Newark, I know.
Must have been LaGuardia.
LaGuardia.
Okay, so you guys flew to Rome and then...
I was trying to think how we got there. Whether we had a car from the... But what I've done in between is mixed up how we traveled, because...
Well, let me just ask you this. In my recollection is most Atlantic flights often had to stop in Ireland. They'd go over and stop in Ireland and then move on. Did you do that?
I don't think so. I think we went to London and then down to Rome.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it like? I mean, this is your first trip out of the country. You know, did you go with the kids or just you and Papu?
Oh, just the two of us.
Okay. Were you excited?
Oh, of course, and I wanted to know everything, and we arranged to go to Reggio. That was when we changed planes in Rome. We had to walk uphill to get in the plane. That's how small it was. It was like maybe there were 10 people on it, and that was a little scary to fly in with that upside down. Like felt like you were going uphill, and then when it leveled out, it would be even. But when you were taking off, it looked like you were taking off to the sky because it didn't level. But I wasn't afraid of flying. We had flown over the lake. We took a few days break when Roy was just toddler walking, and you were in Indiana when you went to Indiana with Mary Ellen and Tal. And who was also Randy? Was Randy with them then? But they drove, and you wanted to go to Grandma's house, and so they took you with them. But in the meantime, we had never had any break from having the two children, and it was like 8 years married. So that was the first flight I went to. It was over the lake in Maine, the sightseeing tour with a little putt-putt airplane, now you would call it. But Dad wasn't afraid either to fly. He didn't like if there was delays because that bothered him. But he didn't mind. He got a little bit agitated, and the day before his agita, he would eat very much. He showed it like that more than verbally. But I wasn't. I was always ready to new adventure.
So you guys flew into Rome, and did you spend any time in Rome before you went down to Sheila?
Oh yeah, we had a tour of Rome, and we slept there one night in the motel or hotel.
How was that? The whole experience of going to Rome for you, the little girl from Indiana.
Overwhelming, because I didn't have the knowledge that I have now about Europe or anything, because I wasn't exposed yet. So it was like awe-inspiring. But we didn't go to the Vatican on our way down, because we took a week and went on a trip all the way up to Venice, and we stopped then at different places. And